In Management Matters, the Sammies. This month, the Partnership for Public Service announced 32 finalists for their Service to America medals, the Oscars of government service. The program will celebrate its 15th year with an awards ceremony on September 20th. You'll meet most of the finalists on this show. They have incredible stories to tell, including Jessica Hall Zomer, attorney advisor at the Environmental Protection Agency. She's a finalist for the Call to Service medal. Jessica, before we get into your call to service, quantify the problem you set out to solve, namely pollution from steam electric power plants. What kind of impact do they have on the environment?
It's a great question. Well, first, steam electric power plants are the vast majority of power plants in the United States that produce electricity. And they discharge pollutants that include toxic heavy metals like arsenic, mercury, lead, and selenium, as well as nutrients. And some of these dangerous pollutants can cause impacts like cancer, lowered IQ in children, and reproductive and physical deformities in fish and wildlife.
And that's where you came in, revising and strengthening a power plant rule and harmonizing it with the Clean Water Act. Tell me more about that.
Yes, as the lead attorney to finalize the steam electric rule that was issued by EPA last year, it was my responsibility to ensure that the rule was issued in full compliance with all relevant laws, including the Clean Water Act. And I also worked very closely with a team that included engineers, scientists, economists, and statisticians to develop specific regulatory provisions for the rule in order to achieve desired outcomes.
Jessica, as you've alluded to, there's certainly been a lot of cross-agency collaboration and conversations with the White House. Who did you work with and why?
We worked very closely with stakeholders across the federal government, and we worked closely with OMB during the interagency review process to ensure that the rule was as fair and balanced as it could be, given the mandates in the Clean Water Act.
Your regulation will be phased in starting in 2018. Now the hard work begins. The power industry has challenged the rule in court. What role will you play in defending it?
Well, I will be the lead attorney to defend the rule in court. As you mentioned, we have been challenged by industry groups and a group of environmental organizations, which is not unusual for significant EPA actions. As you may be aware, there are many EPA actions that are subject to suit in courts these days. But we are very confident that we will prevail in the litigation and that the rule will do its job to eliminate approximately 1.4 billion pounds of pollutants every year from the industry in question.
That's incredible. Jessica, before you go, I'm curious. Tell me more about your call to service. What drew you to the EPA?
Well, I come from a family with a very deep interest in the environment. And my call to public service is really tied to my interest in the environment. I have many family members who have dedicated their careers to the environment and public health. For example, I have a great uncle who was instrumental in passage of the Wilderness Act of 1964. And my own father is an award-winning wildlife photographer, as well as author who specializes in marine life. And my own interest in the environment began at an early age on annual scuba diving trips with my family. Then when I was in high school, I developed an interest in environmental law and policy, which drew me to law school. And when I was in law school is when I really decided that one day I wanted to work for the EPA. And now, as a lawyer for the EPA, I'm really pleased to be able to use my critical thinking skills to help solve difficult problems like how to best address pollution in a way that balances society's very varied interests.
Impressive indeed. Jessica Hall Zomer, attorney advisor at the Environmental Protection Agency. Thanks and good luck.
Thank you.